making a video because I like making videos. So in this video, I'm going to talk about basically two things: how I saved an emergency fund. Like, what did I do? And I boil it down to two things. So the first thing is that you got to keep a written budget. The second thing is be aggressive, right? Because before I ever came into this concept, I was barely getting by. And albeit I was not making much money. I worked in jobs that didn't pay well. I didn't have good money management skills. I played a lot of video games. And I financed vehicles, right? So those are some of the things. But I kept a written budget. And the way I kept a written budget, I had to create one. And so I created one by doing a couple things. One, I had to look at all of what my bills were, not for the month, but for the year, because we know that utility bills will fluctuate up and down, right? They'll fluctuate up and down, like say for instance summer, so electricity is going to shoot up if you're running your air. And I'm actually going to be roughing it. That's the cool thing about being a bachelor, is that you can live with a little heat and not worry about the discomfort of someone else. So like for in case, so that's why you have to average it out. So let's say one of the utilities is electricity. Everybody has that, right? And I've had my times where it's been shut off on me. So don't think I've never experienced that. But the key thing to remember is that once you understand your emergency fund, well, let me go back to the budget, because that's going to be one of the elements that helps you build your budget. That'll help you create your emergency fund. So I looked at my bill for the last 12 months in the electricity. So in my case, Georgia Power, right? It was this, that, and other. So every monthly amount that was due, I documented and put them in a spreadsheet, or you can write them down. But I put them in a spreadsheet. And then what I did, from every one of those entries from the 12 months, I came up with an average. So that average number is the number that I would now put into the budget. Same thing with gas. If you use gas, like this house I'm in right now uses gas. So every month had a different amount. So what I did, added up all 12, average it out. Now I got my amount that I want to put towards gas in my budget. Okay. If your income didn't fluctuate, that should be at the top of your budget. If you know what your car payment is, that should be an item in your budget. If you know what your car insurance is going to be, that should be in your budget. If you have to pay insurance like me because your job didn't want to give you benefits, put that in your budget. If you're making payments on music equipment, all that has to be in your budget. But I'm gonna stick to it on utilities, not luxuries like subscriptions and stuff like that, but utilities, stuff you actually need to survive, right? You calculate all that for each of the last 12 months. So even your internet bill, right? If your internet bill is consistent, then add all that up for 12 months to get an average. Sometimes they want to charge you a little more. You know how these companies do, like sneak in fees on you and hit you upside the head with a fee here and there. That's what they like to do, right? So inside of that, you kept up with your average. And your average is what you are paying out in your budget every month. And all those bills are added up to a number each month versus what your income is. So because of the situation I was in, I was getting paid twice a week, right? Just for that one job. Okay. So with that, I was able to determine how much every dollar was going. Because another concept I was learning about is called a zero balance budget. So you want every dollar that comes in for that week or those 2 weeks, you want to be dedicated to a purpose. If you just leave it sitting on the table, it's going to get ate up by Amazon or food or something like that. Groceries, that's another thing. Determine what's a good amount for you to have for groceries for 2 weeks. Mine is pretty low because I'm by myself. If I was responsible for more individuals, it would probably be a higher number. Definitely would probably be cooking a whole lot more because Sam's Club would be king in that department, especially if we would have a mouth or two to feed. definitely would do that. So you have to add all that up. Now, once you got that determined in your budget, now what you can do is you can figure out, okay, this is the extra cash I have in my budget, because prayerfully, you should have some money left from your budget every 2 weeks. Or if you only get paid once a month, prayerfully, you should have some money left in your account after you paid all your after you paid all your items that are on your budget. And inside of that is where you can allocate money towards your emergency fund. But you won't know what kind of money you could take from your regular paycheck to put to your emergency fund until you know how much is left from it from when you paid all your bills. So what I used to do in the day is I would just get paid and then just pay stuff as I go and try to hold on to as much as I could so that I could still have some money in my account. And it was just a blind thing. It was just, okay, here's a bill. Which one I'm going to take care of? All right, I'm going to put something towards that. Right? And this is all going off of memory, right? You see the bill and you put in the back of your mind, okay, I need to pay this. I need to pay that. I don't know if I can pay that right now. What can I pay late, right? And that's how it was for me for a very long time, because I wasn't taught or didn't learn. I wasn't taught this. So I had to learn and pay attention to where the money was going. But before that, it was just, do I got some money to buy something? Okay, I got some money. Can I go broke after I buy it? Okay, I'm going to go broke. So in review of that, you want to pay everything out that you need to pay your money from. You should have extra. If you don't have extra, then you may have to tweak some of your expenses if you can. And I know that it's complicated, but this will help you position yourself to be more financially secure in your future because of how uncertain and how volatile everything is, right? So with that being said, you got your budget. You know what you have extra. Figure out what's comfortable for you to have extra for that purpose. For me, when the job kind of changed and I made a little bit more money, I very aggressively threw money at that emergency fund. And sometimes, because of my spending habits, sometimes I will come up almost having no money left towards the next payday in the month because I saved so aggressively. So wow, that was just me. I can kind of muscle through a little bit. I can kind of suffer a little bit. But I threw so much at the emergency fund that I managed to put that away, right? I managed to knock that stuff out. So that's what I did. And once I got that budget, I did this for a while. It took me a long time to do it because, to be honest, I did take time to enjoy stuff. I've bought things that I probably shouldn't have. And that delayed the process. But if you can be disciplined with it, you can save that up. And two, that's why I did that. People say 3 to 6 months, depending on if you're single. Yeah, 3 months. But what I did was I came up with a kind of a lofty number of expenses per month. I calculated what my expenses were, and then I put more on top of it that for the income I wanted to have. I saved as though I had made more money than what I actually did, which benefits me in the long run big time. And I went for 6 months. And so what happened was like, man, this is really going on for a while. I'm dragging my feet on this. So every extra dollar that came in from gigging to whatever came through to the job, if it was a high month when I was making a lot more, emergency fund. So I got it knocked out. And then what happened? I needed to repair my car, but I had the resources to do it, and I had to rent cars and stuff like that. It was crazy. Yeah, that was rough. So long story short, got it done. Things are cool. Made it happen. And I hope this helps you get some better ideas on how to save your emergency fund.